On Christmas Eve, 7-year-old Mia saw a woman crying alone in church. She did not ask why. She did not say a single word. She simply walked over, sat down, and held her hand through the entire midnight mass. The woman was Rebecca Sterling, the loneliest billionaire in America. She had not been in this church in 20 years. Not since her grandmother died. Not since she forgot what love without conditions felt like. One small hand changed everything. This is their Christmas story. Snow fell softly on the small town of Millbrook on Christmas Eve morning, covering everything in a blanket of white that made the whole world look like the inside of a snow globe. 7-year-old Mia pressed her nose against the window, watching the flakes dance down from the gray sky. "Daddy, do you think Grandma in heaven can see the snow?" Thomas looked up from the pancakes he was flipping, his heart squeezing the way it always did when Mia talked about her grandmother. His mother had passed away 2 years ago, and Christmas had never been quite the same. "I think she can see everything, sweetheart. And I bet she's making snow angels up there right now." Mia giggled. Grandma was too old for snow angels. She was never too old for anything. "Remember how she used to chase you around the yard? And she always let me win." Mia's smile faded slightly. "I miss her, Daddy." Thomas set down the spatula and knelt beside his daughter. "I miss her too, Pumpkin. Every single day. Are we still going to midnight mass tonight? Like we used to with Grandma?" "Of course we are." It was her favorite tradition. Mia nodded seriously. She said the church looks like heaven on Christmas Eve, with all the candles and the singing. She paused. "Daddy, do you think there are people who are sad on Christmas?" "I'm sure there are, sweetheart." "Why do you ask?" "Because Grandma always said Christmas is for remembering that no one should be alone. She used to invite Mr. Henderson from next door, remember? And the lady from the post office who didn't have family." Thomas smiled at the memory. His mother had a gift for finding lonely souls and making them feel seen. "Your grandma had the biggest heart in the whole town. I want to have a big heart too." Mia pressed her hand against her chest. "I want to make sure no one feels alone on Christmas, like Grandma did." Thomas pulled her into a hug, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. "You already do, baby girl. You already do." He had no idea that in just a few hours, his daughter would prove exactly how big her heart truly was. That afternoon, Mia helped her father bake cookies for the church bake sale, another tradition her grandmother had started. "Daddy, why do we put extra frosting on some of them?" "Because Grandma always said the prettiest cookies should go to the people who look like they need them most." "How do you know who needs them?" Thomas thought about how to explain his mother's philosophy to a 7-year-old. "Well, Grandma used to say that some people wear their sadness on the outside. You can see it in their eyes, in the way they hold themselves. But most people hide it. They smile and say they're fine, but inside they're hurting. That sounds hard. Hiding your sadness, it is. That's why Grandma believed in being kind to everyone. Because you never know who's carrying a heavy heart." Mia carefully placed a star cookie with extra sprinkles on the special plate. "Grandma was really smart, wasn't she? The smartest person I ever knew." "Daddy!" Mia looked up at him with her big brown eyes. "I made something for Grandma. For tonight. At church." She ran to her room and came back with a folded piece of paper. When she opened it, Thomas felt tears prick his eyes. It was a drawing of 3 figures: a small girl with red hair, a man with brown hair, and floating above them, an angel with gray curly hair and a big smile. "That's us," Mia explained. "And that's Grandma watching over us from heaven. I'm going to put it in the offering basket so she can see it. She'll love it, sweetheart. I wrote something on the back, too. Want to see?" Thomas turned over the paper. In Mia's careful handwriting it said, "Dear Grandma, I promise to have a big heart like you. I promise to find the lonely people and make them feel seen. Merry Christmas in heaven. Love. Mia Thomas had to turn away so Mia wouldn't see him cry. That's beautiful, baby girl. Grandma would be so proud of you. I'm going to keep my promise tonight, Mia said with the certainty only a child can have. I'm going to find someone who needs a friend. She had no idea that someone was already on their way to Millbrook, someone who needed a friend more than anyone. 300 miles away, Rebecca Sterling sat in the back of her private car, watching the countryside blur past. Ma'am, are you sure about this destination? Her driver asked for the third time. Millbrook is quite small. There's nothing there. There's a church, Rebecca said quietly. St. Mary's. Do you know it? I can find it. Rebecca turned back to the window. She hadn't been to Millbrook in 20 years. Not since her grandmother's funeral. Not since she'd stood in that tiny church and promised herself she would never feel that kind of pain again. She had kept that promise. She had built walls so high and so thick that nothing could get through. She had turned herself into a machine, acquiring companies, crushing competitors, making billions. And she had never once gone back to the little town where she had learned what love felt like. Until today. This morning, she had woken up in her penthouse, alone, as always, and felt something crack inside her. It was Christmas Eve. She was 33 years old. She had everything money could buy and nothing that actually mattered. Her phone showed 17 missed calls from her assistant, 12 from her CFO, and 0 from anyone who cared about her as a person. Before she knew what she was doing, she was in the car, heading to the only place that had ever felt like home. We're approaching Millbrook, ma'am. Rebecca looked up. The town was exactly as she remembered. Quaint streets lined with old-fashioned lampposts, shop windows decorated for Christmas, people walking arm in arm through the falling snow. And there, at the end of Main Street, was St. Mary's Church. White steepled, red doors, a wreath with a golden bow. The last time she had walked through those doors, she had been 13 years old, holding her grandmother's hand. Stop here, Rebecca said suddenly. I'll walk the rest of the way. She stepped out into the snow, her designer heels immediately soaking through. She didn't care. She stood there, staring at the church, feeling like the lost little girl she had tried so hard to bury. I don't know why I came, she whispered to no one. I don't know what I'm looking for. But somewhere deep inside, she knew exactly what she was looking for. She was looking for the part of herself she had left behind 20 years ago. The church was filling up for midnight mass when Rebecca slipped through the side door. She didn't want anyone to see her. Didn't want to answer questions about why she was here or where she had been. She just wanted to sit in the same pew where her grandmother used to sit and pretend, for one night, that she wasn't completely alone. The back pew was empty. Of course it was. Everyone wanted to be close to the altar, close to the candles and the choir. No one wanted to hide in the shadows. No one except Rebecca. She sat down, pulling her coat tighter around herself even though the church was warm. The familiar smell hit her immediately, candle wax and old wood, and something floral that her grandmother had called the smell of prayers. Can you smell it, Becca? Her grandmother used to whisper. All those prayers rising up to heaven. They leave their scent behind. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. She hadn't cried in years. Hadn't allowed herself to. Tears were weakness, and weakness got you destroyed in the corporate world. But here, in this church, with the ghosts of Christmas past all around her, she couldn't hold them back. The first tear fell as the choir began to warm up. The second fell as families filed in, laughing and greeting each other. The third fell as a father lifted his daughter up to see the nativity scene, the little girl squealing with delight. Rebecca pressed her hand over her mouth to keep from sobbing out loud. This was a mistake. She shouldn't have come. She should go back to her penthouse where no one could see her fall apart. "Excuse me." Rebecca looked up, quickly wiping her face. A little girl stood at the end of the pew. Auburn curls, brown eyes, a red velvet dress with white fur trim that made her look like a tiny Christmas angel. The girl didn't ask why Rebecca was crying, didn't ask if she was okay, didn't do any of the things adults would do. She simply walked over, sat down next to Rebecca, and slipped her small hand into Rebecca's cold one. Then, she turned to face the altar, as if this was the most natural thing in the world. Rebecca stared at their joined hands, her own pale and trembling, the child's warm and steady. She opened her mouth to say something, but the little girl just squeezed her hand gently and whispered, "It's okay. You don't have to talk. I'll just sit with you." And she did. Thomas had been looking everywhere for Mia. One moment she was beside him, the next she had vanished into the crowd of parishioners. He scanned the pews frantically, finally spotting a flash of red velvet in the very back of the church. His heart stopped. Mia was sitting next to a stranger, a beautiful woman in an expensive coat who was clearly crying, and Mia was holding her hand. Thomas's first instinct was to rush over and pull his daughter away. "You just sit with strangers, hold their hands, insert yourself into their private grief." But something stopped him. The way the woman was looking at Mia, like she was a lifeline, like that small hand was the only thing keeping her from drowning. And the way Mia was sitting, perfectly still, perfectly calm, as if she had done this 1,000 times, as if she knew exactly what this stranger needed. Thomas thought of his mother. How many times had he seen her do exactly this? Sit with grieving strangers at funerals, hold hands with frightened patients at the hospital. Simply be present when words weren't enough. "Some people don't need you to fix them," she used to say. "They just need you to sit with them in the dark until the light comes back." Thomas found a seat where he could watch without interfering, his eyes fixed on his daughter and the crying stranger. The Mass began. The choir sang, "O Holy Night." The priest spoke about love and hope and the miracle of Christmas. And through it all, Mia never let go. When the congregation stood, Mia stood with the woman, keeping their hands linked. When they sat together. When hymns were sung, Mia shared her songbook, pointing to the words so the woman could follow along. Not once did Mia ask a question. Not once did she seem uncomfortable or impatient. She simply sat with a stranger in the dark, waiting for the light to come back. By the time the priest said Mass has ended, "Go in peace," the woman had stopped crying. She was looking at Mia with an expression Thomas recognized. Wonder, gratitude, and something that looked almost like hope. Thomas made his way over, unsure what to say. Mia looked up at him with her grandmother's eyes. "Daddy, this is my new friend." She was sad, but we watched the candles together. Grandma always said candles help. Thomas looked at the woman. "I'm so sorry if she bothered you." She didn't. The woman's voice was hoarse, as if she hadn't spoken in a long time. "She saved me." Mia squeezed her hand one more time. "Merry Christmas. I hope your heart feels lighter now." Rebecca didn't want to let go of the little girl's hand. It was absurd. She was a CEO, a billionaire, a woman who commanded boardrooms and crushed competition. And she was clinging to a 7-year-old like she was the only solid thing in a spinning world. "I'm Rebecca," she managed to say. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry any. She stopped. How could she explain? "You don't have to explain." The father's voice was gentle, nothing like the sharp tones she was used to in her world. "I'm Thomas, and you've already met Mia. Mia Droidzen." Rebecca looked down at the girl. "That's a beautiful name. It was my grandma's name, Mia said. Well, her nickname. Her real name was Amelia. She died, but she's in heaven now, watching over us. I'm sorry for your loss. It's okay. We still talk to her. Daddy says love doesn't stop just because someone goes to heaven. Mia tilted her head. Did you lose someone too? Is that why you were crying? The question was so direct, so innocent, that Rebecca couldn't lie. Yes. My grandmother. Duet. A long time ago. Was she nice? The nicest person I ever knew. Rebecca's voice cracked. She used to bring me to this church. We'd sit right here, in this pew, and she'd tell me stories about the angels in the stained glass windows. That's beautiful, Thomas said softly. I haven't been back since she died. 20 years. Rebecca looked around at the church, seeing it through new eyes. I think I was afraid. Afraid it would hurt too much. Does it? Yes, but, she looked at Mia. But, it also feels like coming home. Mia's face lit up. You should come home with us. Daddy makes the best hot chocolate, and we have cookies and you can see our Christmas tree. It's not big like the one in here, but it has ornaments I made myself. Mia, Thomas said gently. Rebecca might have plans. I don't. The words came out before Rebecca could stop them. I don't have any plans. I don't have anyone waiting for me. I came here because I didn't know where else to go. The confession hung in the air. Rebecca waited for the judgment, the pity, the awkward excuses. Instead, Thomas simply smiled. Then, it sounds like you should come have hot chocolate with us. Mia's right. It's pretty good. Family recipe. I couldn't impose. You're not imposing. He held out his hand. My mother used to say that Christmas is for making sure no one feels alone. Mia takes after her. And honestly, he paused. We could use the company too. Rebecca looked at his outstretched hand. Calloused, warm, real. She took it. I'd like that, she whispered. I'd like that very much. Rebecca had been in penthouse apartments that cost $30 million. She had stayed in hotels with thread counts higher than most people's salaries. She had seen luxury that would make kings jealous. None of it compared to walking into Thomas's small apartment on Christmas Eve. The tree was barely 4 feet tall, decorated with handmade ornaments, paper snowflakes, painted pine cones, a star made from popsicle sticks. Stockings hung from a bookshelf because there was no fireplace. The furniture was old, but comfortable, and every surface held photos of Mia at various ages. It's not much, Thomas said, suddenly self-conscious. Nothing like you're probably used to. It's perfect, Rebecca breathed. It's warm. That's the space heater, Mia giggled. Sometimes it makes funny noises, but Daddy says it has personality. Everything has personality in this house, apparently. Thomas hung up their coats. Make yourself comfortable. I'll get the hot chocolate started. Rebecca sat on the warm couch, feeling oddly at peace. Mia immediately curled up next to her. Do you want to see my ornaments? I made that one when I was 4. It's supposed to be a reindeer, but it looks like a potato. I think it's a beautiful potato. That's what Daddy said. Mia beamed. And that one is from Grandma. She made it when she was little. Daddy says it's an heirloom. That means really old and special. Rebecca looked at the delicate glass angel, clearly vintage, hanging in the place of honor. My grandmother had one just like this, she said softly. I wonder what happened to it. Thomas came in with 3 mugs of hot chocolate, topped with whipped cream and candy cane sticks. Best hot chocolate in Millbrook, he announced. If I do say so myself. Rebecca took a sip. It was rich, perfectly sweet, with a hint of something she couldn't identify. Cinnamon, Thomas said, noticing her expression. My mother's secret ingredient. She said it makes everything taste like Christmas. She was right. They sat together as the clock crept toward midnight. Thomas in the armchair, Mia sprawled between Rebecca and a pile of pillows. Christmas carols playing softly from an old radio. "Daddy, can we give Rebecca her present now? We didn't know Rebecca was coming, sweetheart. But we have extra cookies. The special ones with extra frosting." Rebecca's heart clenched. Extra frosting? Grandma always said the prettiest cookies should go to the people who need them most. Mia jumped up and ran to the kitchen, returning with a plate. "And you needed them." "I could tell." Rebecca looked at the cookies. Sugar stars covered in pink and silver frosting, clearly made by small hands. "These are the most beautiful cookies I've ever seen," she said, her voice thick. "They're a little messy," Mia admitted. "The frosting wouldn't stay on right. That's what makes them perfect." The clock struck midnight. "Merry Christmas, Rebecca," Mia said, climbing back onto the couch and hugging her. Rebecca hugged her back, and for the first time in 20 years, she didn't feel alone. "Merry Christmas, Mia Daddy." Rebecca woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of a little girl singing Jingle Bells slightly off-key. For a moment, she forgot where she was. The ceiling was too low. The blanket was homemade rather than designer, and the pillow smelled like fabric softener instead of hotel laundry. Then she remembered. She had fallen asleep on Thomas's couch on Christmas Eve, in a stranger's home. Except they didn't feel like strangers anymore. "She's awake! She's awake!" Mia came bounding in, still in her pajamas, her auburn curls wild. "Merry Christmas, Rebecca. Daddy made pancakes and there's a present for you under the tree." "A present?" "But I didn't. It's from Mia." Thomas appeared in the doorway, holding 2 mugs of coffee. She insisted. Rebecca sat up, accepting the coffee gratefully. "You really didn't have to. Open it, open it." Mia dragged a small wrapped package to the couch. The wrapping paper was covered in hand-drawn snowflakes. Inside was a frame, the same pasta and glitter style as the one Mia had made for Thomas. But this one was different. Inside the frame was a drawing of 3 figures and an angel. "That's me, and Daddy, and you," Mia explained. "And that's Grandma, watching over all of us. Because now you're part of our family, if you want to be." Rebecca couldn't speak. She stared at the drawing, tears streaming down her face. "Hey," Thomas sat down beside her. "Are you okay? I don't deserve this." The words came out broken. "You don't even know who I am, what I've done, the person I've become. Then tell us." Rebecca looked at him. This kind, gentle man who had opened his home to a stranger on Christmas Eve without asking for anything in return. "My name is Rebecca Sterling. I'm the CEO of Sterling Media Corporation. I'm worth approximately $2 billion. She paused. "I have no friends. No family. I haven't celebrated Christmas in 20 years. I came back to this town because I was so lonely I thought I might disappear entirely." Thomas was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That sounds really hard. Not wow, you're rich. Not can you invest in my business. Not any of the things people usually said when they found out who she was. Just compassion. Simple and real. My grandmother would be ashamed of who I've become," Rebecca whispered. "No, she wouldn't." Mia climbed into her lap. "She'd be happy you found us. She'd be happy you came back to her church. She'd say you just got a little lost, but now you're found." Rebecca held the little girl close, sobbing into her auburn curls. "How do you know all the right things to say?" Mia shrugged. "Grandma tells me. In my heart." Christmas Day passed in a blur of pancakes, present opening, and a snowball fight in the tiny backyard. Rebecca couldn't remember the last time she had laughed so much, or felt so free, but as evening approached, reality began to creep back in. "I should go," she said, as Thomas cleaned up the dinner dishes. "My driver has been waiting." I have... I have things I need to attend to. On Christmas, the business doesn't stop just because it's a holiday. Thomas dried his hands, studying her face. You don't have to go. I do. This has been the most wonderful day I've had in 20 years. But it's not real life. It's a Christmas miracle. And Christmas miracles end died. They don't have to. Rebecca looked away. You don't understand. The world I live in, it would destroy this. Destroy you. The media, the scrutiny, the constant pressure. I can't do that to Mia. I can't do that to you. Shouldn't we get to decide that for ourselves? Thomas, my mother used to say that fear is just love that hasn't found its courage yet. He stepped closer. I know we just met. I know this is insane. But something happened in that church last night. Something real. I'm scared, Rebecca whispered. I'm terrified. I've spent 20 years building walls so I wouldn't get hurt. And in one night, your daughter walked right through them like they weren't even there. That's her superpower. What if I hurt her? What if I hurt you? What if I'm too broken to be part of something this good? Before Thomas could answer, Mia appeared in the doorway in her pajamas. You're leaving? Rebecca's heart shattered. Sweetheart, I have to, but you're family now. Family doesn't leave on Christmas. Mia, sometimes grown-ups have complicated. You promised. Mia's lower lip trembled. At church, when you held my hand, you promised you'd stay. I didn't say you didn't have to. I felt it. Tears streamed down Maya's face. When you squeeze someone's hand and you feel their heart, that's a promise. Grandma taught me that. Rebecca knelt down, her own tears falling. You're right. I did promise. And I always keep my promises. She looked up at Thomas. Even when I'm scared. Thomas pulled them both into his arms. Then stay, he said simply. Stay, and let us love you. Stay and find out what happens when you stop running. Rebecca held on tight. For the first time in 20 years, she wasn't going anywhere. 1 year later, Rebecca walked into St. Mary's Church on Christmas Eve. But this time, she wasn't alone. Mia held her left hand. Thomas held her right. And on her finger, a simple diamond ring caught the candlelight. Same pew? Mia asked. Same pew, Rebecca agreed. Always. They slid into the back row, their row now. The row where a lost billionaire had found a little girl with a big heart. The row where a broken soul had started to heal. Rebecca. Mia tugged her sleeve. Yes, sweetheart? Do you think your grandma and my grandma are watching together? From heaven? Rebecca looked up at the stained glass windows. At the angels her grandmother used to tell her stories about. I think they're probably having tea and comparing notes on how to make us cry at Christmas. Mia giggled. Grandma loved tea. So did mine. Thomas squeezed Rebecca's hand. You okay? Better than okay? She leaned her head on his shoulder. I spent 20 years being afraid to feel anything. And then your daughter held my hand, and I felt everything. She has that effect on people. She has your heart, you know. That kindness. That ability to see people who think they're invisible. She has her grandmother's heart. I just got to borrow it for a while. The choir began to sing the same hymns, the same melodies that had echoed in this church for 100 years. But this time, Rebecca sang alone. This time, she wasn't crying alone in the back pew. This time, she was home. As the Mass ended, and the congregation rose, Mia looked up at both of them, with her grandmother's eyes. Best Christmas ever, she declared. Best Christmas ever, Thomas agreed. Rebecca thought about where she had been a year ago. Lost. Broken, convinced she would never feel warmth again. And now here she was, with a ring on her finger and a family in her heart. "No," she said softly. "Best life ever." They walked out of the church together, into the falling snow, and somewhere, two grandmothers smiled. If there had been a camera, it would have risen slowly through the snow falling outside St. Mary's Church, past the glowing stained glass windows and the golden star on the steeple, up into the Christmas Eve sky where perhaps two grandmothers were indeed watching. Below, three figures emerged from the red doors, hand in hand, a little girl in green velvet, a kind-eyed veterinarian, and a billionaire who finally learned that the greatest fortune is love. It started with silence. No questions, no explanations, no demands. Just a small hand reaching out to hold a broken heart. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is simply sit with them in the dark and wait for the light to come back. Mia's grandmother knew this. And somehow, even at 7 years old, Mia knew it too. Some miracles come with angels and trumpets and stars in the east. But the quiet miracles, the ones that happen in back pews and small apartments in the spaces between heartbeats, those are the ones that change us forever. If this story warmed your heart, even just a little, do not forget to subscribe and hit that like button to support the Steadfast Heart Stories. Every like and follow helps us bring more soul-stirring stories like this one to life. Stories about silent comfort and grandmother wisdom, about finding family in unexpected places, and about the little hands that reach out on Christmas Eve and remind us that no one, no matter how lost, is ever truly alone. Thank you for watching. Stay warm, stay kind. See you in the next story.